If you're a pro-life activist like me, you hear from our opposition that there's no such thing as late-term abortions. Well, we'll talk about that today and clear up the misinformation here on the program. Also, we're going to be discussing all-trimester abortions and the expansion of DuPont Clinic, who's moving from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles. We'll have a guest from survivors of the Abortion Holocaust on the program, so stick around. Activist Radio with the Mark Harrington Show is brought to you by Created Equal, and you can support our work by going to createdequal.org. The little icon on the side of the home page you can click on and give electronically, or you can write a check to us and support our work taking abortion victim photography and video to college campuses, high school campuses, basically every single public venue you could imagine. That's where we go, and we share the truth about abortion and the love of Jesus Christ and the gospel. So that's the work that we do, and you can follow us on all our social media platforms, and you can follow the program on all the popular podcasting platforms. Well, today we're going to cover two things. We're going to talk about late-term abortion, and I put scare quotes around that because there are those on the other side of this issue, our opposition, who say that late-term abortions don't happen. They don't exist. We're going to talk about that, and I think you're going to find out that they do. And the other thing is we're going to be interviewing one of our interns that's coming in for our summer boot camp in the second part of the program. So let's just jump in here. If you've been following the program, you know that Ohio is at the center of everything when it comes to the abortion issue right now, because in November, if they get the signatures, there will be a measure on the ballot to expand abortion up to the very moment of birth. Yes, that's right. Late-term abortion will be legal in Ohio up to the moment of birth. Now, that's disputed by our friends on the other side of the issue, and we're going to talk about that in detail today. And that's why I want to bring it up, because late-term abortions, are no different in the sense of, in the eyes of God, we're all made in the image of God, whether conceived in the womb and and murdered at 6 weeks or 20 weeks or 31 weeks. It really doesn't matter. It's all murder. But late-term abortion is something where the public seems to disfavor, at least a majority of the American people say that late-term abortion should not be legal. And therefore, it's a good political wedge issue for us to make our case. And obviously it happens. And so if you're looking, say, at the proposed Ohio constitutional amendment, and Mr. Producer, if you pop that up, we have a red line document that you'll find at createdequal.org/Ohio that basically is marked up in red ink and points out some of the problems with this constitutional amendment. And the one is this. On Section B, number 3, the amendment says abortion may be prohibited after fetal viability. Well, that sounds good, doesn't it? It's like, oh, okay, they're moderate. They're trying to compromise and provide some measure of sanity to the whole amendment so that even some marginally pro-life, pro-choice people might vote for it, right? Well, if you look at what viability means these days, it doesn't mean what it used to. We used to believe that, or at least it used to be defined as, a baby who is viable is a baby that can live outside the womb of her mother. That's not necessarily the case anymore. Now, you might say, well, how do you know that? Where'd you get that, Mark? Well, just recently in the periodical The Atlantic, which is a liberal rag, by the way, but Warren Hearn, who is a notorious late-term abortionist who wrote the manual, if you will, the operations manual on abortion. He wrote the book called Abortion Practice. He was interviewed in The Atlantic just recently, and he made this comment, and this is coming from an abortionist, a late-term abortionist, I might add. He said this, or I'm sorry, the reporter who wrote the story said this quote, and this is from the Atlantic. Hearn, though, believes that viability of a fetus is determined not by gestational age. Now get this, but by a mother's willingness to carry it. So basically, viability is determined by the mother's willingness to carry the baby. That's it. She doesn't want the baby, baby's not viable. Has nothing to do with gestational age or the baby's ability to live outside the womb of the mother. So here we go. This amendment says abortion may be prohibited after fetal viability. And guess who's determining that? The abortionist. This is why we can confidently say that this proposed constitutional amendment here in Ohio that may end up on the ballot in November will expand abortion, enshrine it into our Constitution here in Ohio up to the very moment of birth. That is why late-term abortion will be legal in Ohio if this passes. So the idea that late-term abortions don't happen is a lie, and it may end up happening here in Ohio because of this constitutional amendment if it does pass. Now, before we get into the discussion of some of the worst actors when it comes to the late-term abortion, I want to play for you a clip. This is from Live Action. This is an animated video, partially anyway, and it's narrated by an abortionist, used to kill babies, talking about late-term abortion, or what they call induction abortion. So you understand exactly how this happens. Go ahead and play the clip.
On day 1, mifepristone is given orally. Mifepristone blocks the pregnancy hormone progesterone, causing the lining of the uterus to degenerate, starving the fetus of vital nutrients and oxygen. Mifepristone alone doesn't necessarily kill the fetus, so fetal demise is often induced beforehand. This is often only done for babies 20 weeks or older. A syringe with a large needle is filled with a drug called digoxin. Digoxin is used to treat heart problems, but an overdose of digoxin will cause fetal cardiac arrest. A long needle is inserted through the woman's abdomen or vagina, and the digoxin is injected into the fluid surrounding the fetus under ultrasound guidance. The fetus doesn't die immediately, which is why this is normally done 1 or 2 days beforehand. For the drug to be more effective, the abortion doctor can also inject the digoxin directly into the fetus, targeting either the body, heart, or umbilical vein. Potassium chloride can also be used to induce fetal demise more immediately. The fetus usually dies within 24 hours of the injection of digoxin. If the fetus doesn't die within 24 hours, the injection can be repeated. Death is normally confirmed by ultrasound before the start of delivery. On day 2, 24 to 36 hours after the mifepristone, the woman is given misoprostol either orally or vaginally, causing her to go into labor. The misoprostol dose can be repeated every 3 hours up to 5 times. Usually, after 24 hours of starting the misoprostol, the woman will vaginally deliver the fetus. If the woman is having trouble delivering, she may be given a synthetic hormone called Pitocin to promote labor. Once the fetus and the placenta have been...
You can end it there, basically. First of all, the video is excruciatingly clinical. It's in the sense that it removes all emotion. The sense that we can describe this procedure in the way that she does is difficult to watch, because think about it. We're talking about killing a baby that can live outside the womb using digoxin, inserting a long needle and then injecting a drug that brings about what they call fetal demise. These types of terms. It's sickening, frankly. I mean, it's a heart attack. You're killing the baby by giving the baby a heart attack. And there are actually people in our country that do this. Think about it. And there are buildings in Washington, D.C., and we're going to be talking about coming soon to Los Angeles, where mothers take their children to be killed this way. It still blows my mind after 25 years that we're doing this. And I see a video like that, and, sometimes people yawn and go, oh, this is what's going on possibly in your own town. So anyway, I digress a bit here, but The idea here is late-term abortions do exist. How do we know? Well, because they advertise them. And so we want to talk about that. And this is we're going to talk about this DuPont Clinic that's going to be moving to Los Angeles. And my guest today is Tim Clement. He's the outreach director for survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. And Tim is a missionary to the unborn, and he's focusing on saving babies and saving souls, which are important things to do as we minister. And he loves discipling the next generation of youth, as we do here at Created Equal. Tim, thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark. I appreciate you and your ministry.
Well, likewise, we're kindred spirits in the battle for sure. And we have a similar focus on young people because we understand that if we don't raise up the next generation of leaders, we won't have we'll lose the battle. I mean, it's simple as that, right? We got to have warriors in the battlefield. Yes. And, there's people like myself that aren't getting any younger. Let's just put it that way. So we got to keep working at raising up that next generation. And you guys do a great job of that. The reason why I wanted to talk to you is this DuPont Clinic in Washington, D.C. DuPont, by the way, I'm assuming, I looked at the map. I think it's near DuPont Circle, right, in Washington. Have you ever been to Washington? You know where DuPont Circle is. It's one of the, metro stops. Apparently, and this abortion industry, this abortion company does late-term abortions there, and they're expanding. They announced it on Twitter, for that matter. They're right out in your face about all of this stuff. And they call it an all-trimester abortion center. And they say that just like our clinic in D.C., again, this is on their Twitter page, and you go to their website, they're advertising, all patients will have a dedicated doula. Basically, that's someone to help you out with your delivery, in this case, the abortion, and labor support, aromatherapy. I mean, you got to have that if you're going to kill your child, a private patient room, nice, and sedation for all procedures. They are out in the open. What they do here, they call it all-trimester. So they're moving to D.C., or they're moving from D.C. to Los Angeles. You guys caught wind of this by monitoring the website here. Tell us about this a little bit, would you, Tim? I mean, have you been to the one in Washington, and you're familiar with the move that they're trying to make? There are other late-term abortion centers in America, as we know. Warren Hearn runs one in Boulder, Colorado. There's another one in Washington, D.C., Cesare Santangelo, and others. This one seems to be in your face and more brazen than the most.
It does, Mark. Like you said, this one's DC based, DuPont, and they are branching out. They're going from coast to coast. They're putting their roots down and anchoring themselves in now California. And they're actually looking to put this one, this DuPont, in Beverly Hills, of all places. They're going to make Beverly Hills a destination of abortion tourism. And so the thing is with DuPont is they offer a lot of other abortion things to do for abortions, like IUDs, abortion pill, the first and second trimester abortions. But the third trimester is the one that they're really known for, and the one that they really have their eye on. And it's not because they're going to make a lot of money in California per se, but they are now going to, because there's, after 20 weeks, only about 1.3% abortions happen. But what's going to happen is it's going to be an out-of-state tourism kind of attraction, if you will. So they're going to reach out to Newsom. He offered that in September. He put that billboard out there in all these states that were no longer offering abortion. And he said, and he used, it was horrific to use a Bible scripture to love your neighbor. And he was saying that California is trying to love their neighbor to offer this abortion opportunity here in our state, if you want to come to our state. So now it's full term.
Well, I saw the live action piece reporting about the move from the addition to this DuPont Clinic in Los Angeles, and the article was written before you guys there in California passed your own constitutional amendment, right, enshrining abortion up to the very moment of birth. So now you're on record. I mean, as being an abortion destination for anybody who wants to come from a surrounding states, or for that matter, anywhere in the United States, where you might border, say, the state that doesn't have abortion up to birth or restrictions, or for that matter, might be banned. So California was already a state that, probably committed more abortions than anybody in the country. Now it's even worse, right? People are going to come there from all over the world, probably. And so these people are out in front about all this stuff. They advertise exactly what this does. They say 26 to 31 weeks. I mean, I don't know about you, but I know how large a child is that old in gestation, that old. They just do this as a routine. I mean, this is like their bi-coastal model, they call it. This is obscene.
This is obscene. It's tragic. It really is. It's just tragic that we have people so seared in their conscience that would think it's okay, or have some kind of ideology or philosophy that would say that they had the right to determine what's okay and what isn't. Like you were saying, viability is now redefined. It's no longer sustained life according to science,
right,
outside the womb, that a baby can live. It now comes to a philosophical ideology that comes from the abortionist itself. It's like they determine what is viable and what isn't. And it goes back to my choice, my body. Now it's my abortionist choice, their body.
Yeah, let's talk about the abortionists that are involved in this thing. The scripture says in Proverbs, the man who sheds innocent blood, no one should support. They should be a fugitive unto death, right? So this is one of the scriptures that gives us the marching orders to expose those who kill children. They should be a fugitive. I mean, they should be all in jail, right? Or executed, one of them, something, right, guy? But they should at least be on the run, right? They shouldn't be able to inhabit these buildings and live in these communities undisturbed. It's always been my contention. It doesn't mean we advocate for violence. We don't, obviously. But these abortionists that are going to be working in this place, they have a sordid history, do they not? One of them was caught on film, I think it was, with the David Daleiden tapes. Can you familiarize our viewers and listeners about the ones that are likely going to be doing the killing?
Yeah, the main one is going to be Jen Russo. She, like you said, David Daleiden caught her on tape, and a number of others admitting to the demise of children for their body parts. And they even mentioned digoxin, that they didn't use it at the time because I think it was there wasn't enough of it going around. But which, if digoxin isn't inserted in a late-term abortion, that means there's 50% chance that the baby's going to be born alive. And the reason why you want to use dig, and I'm guessing. I'm only guessing, they're not advertising this, but I think that DuPont's going to have their hand in the market as well for harvesting baby organs.
Right. In California,
they don't want to use dig.
Yeah, I mean, that's where David Daleiden shot most of his undercover videos, were in the Southern California area, and caught this Jen Russo on tape talking about, taking baby body parts from late-term babies and selling them on the market. So that goes on unrestrained now, unfortunately. It looks like this all-trimester abortion clinic will probably be dealing in the body parts business.
You can only imagine. I know that it's a big business. Late-term abortions is probably a big business in itself, even though they don't have a list of prices. I've heard anywhere from $3,000 to $15,000 to do a all-trimester abortion. And then you have the body parts that Jen was even caught on film talking to David Daleiden about, I think Da Vinci Bioscience was one of the
Right.
laboratory research facilities that was trying to buy or was buying body organs. And so she mentioned that. And so I could only imagine that she's already kind of a pro at this and will continue her professionalism
Unbelievable.
in that degree. I don't really consider it professionalism, but that is her profession, is
Right.
to kill babies and to sell them.
So Tim Clement is my guest. He is outreach director for survivors of the Abortion Holocaust. He's there in Southern California. This is where this DuPont Clinic is going to be setting up another shop, a chop shop for late-term abortion. They call it the bi-coastal model, person-centered. I love that, instead of woman or mother-centered. It's person. Have to be gender neutral, of course. And you guys are planning some type of response to this. As much as you're able to disclose, tell our viewers, our listeners, what you're planning to do and how they might be able to help.
Yeah, so this summer, Survivors is partnering with other pro-life organizations, and we're going to actually head it off and kind of just anchor down in Beverly Hills or close to it. And the way we're gonna do that, we've already have a activist house that we're renting for a month from
Cool.
July
That's awesome.
13th to August 13th. It's going to be a month of just pure activism.
So
And
just
it's
say the
gonna
dates
be-
again, Tim.
It's going to be probably, I think it's July 13th to August 14th, or
Cool.
July 8th to August 14th, one of those. And we are basically just going to anchor down, and we're going to invite all our friends. We've already invited people like you. We know that you're busy in Ohio, but we'd still love to have you, Mark, even if you came out and spoke for one day. And just one of the things we're going to do is have speakers come out, educate, train other the next genocide in our backyard. And what better way to do it to go to the gates of hell and face DuPont trying to put this abortion clinic right in our backyard and to try to shut it down.
Well, it seems appropriate, unfortunately, that this is in Beverly Hills. It's like the abortion clinic to the stars, right? I mean, it kind of fits in a way. And there are certain things you can do to shut them down. Go to the city council, make sure that they're crossing their I's, dotting their T, or crossing their I's, crossing their T's, dotting their I's in everything they're doing. But it is difficult to keep them out. But the idea of raising awareness in a community to what's going on is absolutely important. It's key, as I mentioned in this verse, that no one should support them according to the Bible, and that they should be a fugitive, that they should not be able to live a normal life. And so in some ways, that's the only judgment that these people will experience, is the being uncomfortable, being put in positions of having to explain what they do to their colleagues and friends and others, because they like having a good reputation. They do. I know that.
Absolutely.
And at the cocktail parties and all that, when people find out, oh, this is what you do? Seriously? So it definitely has a role. How can people find out more about it, Tim?
Well, if you want to, first thing is I would suggest that going to stopdupontclinic.org. This lady named, she's a paralegal. She started a petition, and we need everybody to sign that in California. You're not from California, you probably shouldn't sign it. But stopdupontclinic.org, and
all right,
probably should get as many signatures as we can so we are armed on this. Next, you can go to survivors.la, or you can get a hold of me at tim@survivors.la.
Okay.
And we can send you more information. You don't have to be part of a pro-life organization. If you just want to get involved, we'll put you to work. We'll put you in we'll pencil you in, and hopefully we'll have enough places to sleep. Might have to do it old school, sleep on the floor. We'll get you a pillow, Mark.
That definitely is old school, brother. I still do it every once in a while when necessary. Absolutely. All right, folks. So listen, your call to action today is to go to the website stopdupontclinic.org, sign the petition, and also keep following the survivors of the Abortion Holocaust, who will be giving updates about this event that'll be taking place this summer during the months of July and August. You can make your way out to California, or if you live out there, be part of this, exposing this all-trimester abortion center, DuPont Clinic, to the light of day. It's an important work. And Tim, thanks for being on the program. Appreciate it.
Hey, Mark, thanks for having me. I appreciate you and appreciate being a partner, not only in pro-life, but the gospel as well.
Amen, brother. The Bible says in Matthew 28 that Jesus' has great commission. He says, go therefore and make disciples of the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to obey all that I've commanded you. And lo, I am with you even to the end of the age. And that's really who Created Equal is. We are a discipleship ministry. Obviously, we're anti-abortion. But we do a very difficult thing, and that is we try to combine the issues of abortion and the spreading of the gospel, because we believe they're interconnected. That you can't have long-term change in culture without heart change. And heart change comes through a relationship with Jesus Christ, and that is why we reach out specifically to young people to train up the next generation of leaders. And that's why we have our boot camp during the summers, or better said, our summer internship. And then we're going to be launching that on June 5th. And that'll take us through the entire summer. It's 8 weeks long, June 5th through July 29th. We have people from all over the country coming to the state of Ohio here in Columbus to be part of this training. And our boot camp's a lot different than a lot of other internships. It's not just classroom. It's a lot of practical. It's on-the-job training. You'll get a lot of classroom, but a lot of outreach and other types of things. And so that's what I think sets us apart, because we're trying to train foot soldiers to go out into the culture and make a difference for life and the gospel. And that's what I want to spend a few minutes talking about today. And my guest is Annalisa Harrison. She's one of our interns this summer. She'll be making the trip here soon to Ohio from the state of Texas. Annalisa, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So listen, we've got a bunch of folks coming. You're one of them. We're looking forward to seeing you soon. And let me just, we met at the Justice Ride, but kind of take me through the process of how you first heard about Created Equal, why you went to a Justice Ride, and now you're taking that next step and joining us for a summer.
Yeah, I actually heard about you guys through social media, which I know the whole team has heard about. It was really funny because when I got there, so many of y'all were like, oh, are you Annalisa here? Or are you Annalisa? And it was just funny because, yeah, truly, I think the Lord led me to find you guys on social media. And from there, I just have always had a desire to do outreach or to just do something about fighting for the lives for the preborn, but I didn't really know where to start. And when I heard about the Justice Ride, I was just looking at y'all's website, but it seemed like a really cool opportunity. And I knew I wanted to use my spring break to advance the gospel and to just learn and engage with people. So that's why I decided to go forward with the Justice Ride.
Yeah, so folks, if you don't understand what the Justice Ride is, our premier training event. It's basically the front door to our ministry. What we do is we charter buses and we take them to Florida. We fill them up with young people. We train them on the bus. We train them in the classroom. And we give them a lot of practical experience in pro-life activism in the state of Florida at some of the major universities there. And then that can often lead to an internship. And that's what Annalisa is doing this summer, along with several others. And we're looking forward to having them here in Columbus. What was it about the internship? You went to the Justice Ride. What was it, I guess, about the Justice Ride that got you thinking about an internship?
Yeah, I know that at the beginning of the Justice Ride, I kind of had my mindset about what I was going to be doing for the summer and told
And what was
myself
that?
I was supposed to go to Israel to serve with
Oh,
the
yeah, that's right. We had convos about that, didn't we? I didn't
yes,
discourage you because I told you I was going.
yes, yeah. It was really cool because I was looking forward to it and really was wanting to go because of the experience that I had the last summer in Israel. But it just seemed like the Lord kept closing doors with that opportunity, and so the I think the what it ended up leading me to change my mind and go forward with the internship was the National Memorial for the Unborn. That
Mm,
was really whenever it kind of set in stone like what I was supposed to be doing, just the idea that there are thousands of children being killed on a daily basis in our country. And,
yeah.
the opportunity in Israel was really cool, but there's a, I guess, another hill to die on that comes first. So,
Yeah. Well, I've often said, and this isn't original to me, but the need is the call. The need is the call.
yeah.
And there's such a great need for pro-life activists, young pro-life activists in our country. Going on mission trips are great. Going to Israel is good. But what most needs to be done is always my question, not what I most want to do. Because those things, sometimes they line up, and they should eventually. Sometimes they don't line up, and sometimes the things that most needs to be done is not the thing you necessarily want to do, but it's the thing that needs to be done. And I'm not saying coming here to Ohio is not going to be fun. You're not going to enjoy it, but it is a need. There is no doubt, and the need is the call. And so thank you for answering that call. I think you're going to be glad you did. So a little bit about the summer internship, a lot of classroom, a lot of outreach. You're looking forward to coming here. The reason we do this is to hopefully give folks like yourself an introduction to full-time pro-life activism, or at least going back to your own hometown and continuing on. And so through the internship, we often recruit 2, 3, 4, how many people to work for us for what we call a gap year. So there's kind of a sequence of events. There's the Justice Ride, then there's an internship, and possibly the gap year. And the gap year is it's a 9-month, 2-semester term period of time where young people evaluate whether they would want to go further and actually staff with Created Equal. And so you'll be hearing about that next. So Annalisa Harrison is my guest. Annalisa, what is it about the pro-life thing or issue that got your attention? I mean, you're a young person. You could be doing a heck of a lot of other things this summer. You were going to go to Israel. That's a great thing to do. But what is it about this that gripped you? You say the Memorial for the Unborn. I've been there several times. Of course, very impactful. But what is it that made you say, "Hey, I'm going to be one of the few to do this"?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just the reality that God sees these children as valuable.
Hmm.
And that was the biggest thing. And it's something I keep coming across in scripture time and time again, just how valuable the Lord recognizes that the children in the womb are. And just seeing the apathy that my generation has towards the unborn is really saddening, actually. Instead of empowering mothers and empowering fathers to build lives and build homes that are based on, Lord willing, like the gospel, like that's where it starts, right? Is the gospel changing everything about us, and Lord willing, transforming the way that we would raise children and bring them up into the faith. And so I think the commandment to go is a big one, obviously, in the Great Commission. And this is just the next thing that the Lord has called me to. And so, yeah, I'm excited for it. And yeah,
Well, we're going to have a good summer. We're going to have a good summer. And friends, here's my call to action for you today. It costs us about $3,000 per student. However, Annalisa, like everybody else who's an intern for us, raises their own support for the summer. So their salary, they raise that money. But it costs Created Equal around $60,000 to put it on. It's about $3,000 per student or so, something close to that. And so you can be part of it by sponsoring our internship and helping people like Annalisa, who's going to raise her own support, God willing. But that doesn't cover all the other costs that we have involved in the internship, which is our own, our teachers, our guest speakers, a lot of the staff time, materials, signs, all the trip we're going to go on. By the way, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we're going to take a road trip for a week. We'll be on the road doing activism. So you can get involved by supporting our work by going to createdequal.org/donate, createdequal.org/donate to help us out with the summer internship, the costs to operate that program this summer. Annalisa, we're looking forward to having you here in Ohio. It's a long trip for you from Texas. We'll pray for traveling mercies. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. Yep, I'll see you guys soon.
So friends, please pray for Annalisa and all the other interns that are coming this summer to Columbus for the internship, the crash course, and the boot camp. We covered your prayers in that. These are very courageous and bold young people that are willing to do a lot of things that very few young people are willing to do, and that is to spend their summer saving unborn children. So please pray for them, and we'll see you next time. God bless you. God bless America. And remember, America, to bless God.
You've been listening to Mark Harrington, your radio activist. For more information on how to make a difference for the cause of life, liberty, and justice, go to createdequal.org. To follow Mark, go to markharringtonshow.com. Be sure to tune in next time for your marching orders in the culture war.